The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on April 14th, 2026.
Welcome to Business Matters, brought to you by the Maui Chamber of Commerce. And now here's your host, the president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, Pam Toompop. Good morning, Pam. How are you today?
I am excellent, Gary. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm drying out.
Uh-oh. A lot of rain up there, huh?
Yeah. The last few days. Well, not a lot of rain, but it's just been rainy every day and cloudy.
I know. It's still wet up in Pukalani, but it doesn't feel like we have to dry out. It seems to overnight it seems to get better, and then the next morning, it's a little wet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I'm looking out the window now. I can't see Pukalani. I guess it's a little bit of low clouds or something like that, maybe. Or
we've had a lot of like a haze, a fog.
Yeah,
it feels like fog, but it's been really wild. Yeah, and even driving the other day coming home, like from a meeting, it was very interesting to drive up. Everybody's going super slow. But we're getting there. I think we're going to have a little bit more of that for the next couple days.
Yeah, just no rain.
Yeah, I know. We're saturated now. Yeah, we're happy with what we got. Thank you, Lord, and we'll take it in smaller doses at this point, we hope. Well, thank you, Gary, for all you do for the show. I so appreciate you, and today and always. And it's an exciting day today. We are going to have two guests today, and we're going to talk to Dora Nakafuji, who is with a parent, and we're going to talk about some interesting technology that can benefit your home. And then we are also going to hear from one of our chamber members who's doing phenomenal things, Michael Benton of Bobcat of Maui, a great and growing business. And at a time when we are really working hard on construction and getting houses built, as everybody knows, that's a critical need for the Chamber. Every day at the Maui Chamber of Commerce, it's always focused on, of course, our business members and our economy that just we're having so many issues with that we're trying to deal with and look for innovative ways to save money. And Dora's going to talk a little bit about that, but also housing. And we're going to talk about that with Dora as well on how we can save costs. So let me tell you a little bit about Dora Nakafuji, who has her PhD from she is a doctor of philosophy, and her PhD comes from the University of California. But she is known for exploring clean tech frontiers and creating impactful partnerships. She is the Director of Technology, Integration, and Outreach for Apparent. She has a demonstrated track record of innovation and collaborative partnerships in the energy, transportation, and workforce development arenas. She has focused on grants, project management, leadership, renewable energy, engineering, and strategic business development. So it is my great pleasure to welcome Dora to the show. Good morning, Dora, and how are you this morning?
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
It is my great pleasure. Dora and I. Go ahead, Dora. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it's a little bit rainy over here too in Oahu.
Oh yeah, no. The recent rains have really been spanning, the island chain and just kind of keeping us all very wet for a while. It's been interesting to see. Yeah. So we're so glad to have you on. Dora and I were at a great forum called East West, and it was a program with a venture capital pitch contest, which was really exciting, and talking about AI and emerging technologies. And we met back when we were, just dealing with the wildfires very early on. She has technology solutions, and she's here to talk about something really important today, which is a product with a parent that can be a great help. So, Dora, let's get right into the questions because I know you have so much to share on this. Why should families in Maui care about their water heater when it comes to saving money and energy? And tell us a little bit about Advent Solution.
Well,
Excuse me, I said Advent.
I guess
my apologies. I meant Apparent. I don't know why I said Advent. Tell us about Apparent Solution.
Yeah, and I think of Apparent as we make the invisible visible. And the water heater is one of those things, right? Like, gosh, we all love hot water. I mean, and a hot shower, right? And
yes,
oftentimes we don't think. Yeah, me too. I just had a really nice one this morning when it was so cold outside. But with electricity and water costs going up, we also need to be a little bit more mindful of our use. And that doesn't mean we have to shut things off or turn it off right when we need it. It just means we have to be smarter in what we use and how we use it. And smarter, more innovative technologies, modern technologies and equipment often help us do that. And technology is wonderful. It's because it's always innovative technology is even better because it makes our lives easier if we choose to use it. And it's really a customer choice. So for a lot of our residences here in Hawaii, I don't know if most people know this, but a lot of our bills are about 40% of our bills can be up to just heating up water. The national statistic is about 18 to 20% of the electric energy bill. And if there's a way we can reduce the hoggiest appliance in our home, would we do it? I mean, that's the question. Like, if we can eliminate all of that cost using the sun without the, really, really expensive panel upgrades or anything electrical rewiring, would we do it?
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And I think a lot of people, well, we've been sort of indoctrined, right? We've been on a tremendous energy goal from our state. We have a very high energy goal, and a huge part of it was solar. And a lot of people think that solar is really expensive or complicated. I happen to live on a golf course, so people have said to me, well, you can't put panels on your roof because our house is hit all the time. But you've got solutions through a Parent Excel water heater program. Talk about how it's different and how does it actually work?
Yeah, so we're so blessed with the great sunshine here. Maybe not the last few weeks, but the sun, the sun is really a source of heat and light. So traditionally, a lot of our homes have used heat to heat the water, right? That makes sense. The light, the heat from the sun. But days like this, where we're temperature-wise are not so hot, our typical thermal way of heating things isn't going to perform too well. So we basically use our electric to be a backup. Well, the way that we redesign, and Apparent is actually an original equipment manufacturer. We do a lot of things with microgrids, and we shrink things down when they're gigantic power systems, and we're able to put technology to use, right, in simple ways. And how we've done, or how we've been changing this kind of paradigm shift is, I use the analogy of the incandescent light bulb and the LED. All right, so think about it is that today LEDs are used by everyone to light your room, where incandescent light bulbs, we also know that is also producing light, but it costs a lot more in terms of energy. Same thing with electric water heaters. It uses electricity to heat up water, which is a very inefficient way of heating water. However, if you're able to harness the sun through solar panels, and our technology actually uses direct DC heating, direct to the water heater. So we also eliminate all of that extra cost of pumps and all the extra rewiring, converting it from AC, all that other losses, directly heats up your hot water. So we use the light, photovoltaic, which looks nicer on your roof rather than these big fat panels that have to sit at an angle on people's roofs. And then they pump water. The thermal ones, it actually works by pumping water through from your pipes for the water all the way up through your house, up to the top, and it adds extra weight. And if it leaks, there's other issues with insurance, and then it comes down. So not that is a bad technology, it's just an older technology. So today, getting back to that conversation is, would you have access to newer, better, more efficient equipment? Why won't you use it? That's the question.
Right. So
we're actually helping to increase more awareness for this kind of technology, for these kinds of products. And, it's not complicated. It actually makes the install way easier because we don't have any of those complicated conduits of water. We don't have to do plumbing through the walls. And if it leaks, what are you going to do? You got to rip everything out and put it all in. So it really de-risks and then also makes things easier. We just have 2 wires and hook things up. So that's how we use it. It's direct. The tank is also powered by photovoltaic systems, and we only used 4 panels, and that's about 1.5 kilowatts, which is very small compared to how traditionally, if you just were using panels to heat up a home, electric water heater, that would be like almost 12 panels or something like that. Ours only uses 4 panels. So there's all these trade-offs, and I think the best analogy is the light, the LED light. Let's be more smarter with the technologies that we have.
That's really important. I haven't worked in tech for a long time, but I used to work in tech and got to see so many interesting and innovative things. But this is such a really important point, right? We have adopted LEDs in terms of lighting in our homes. And that took a shift. It was really funny to me when LEDs came out, how long that shift actually took for people to start really trusting in it. And then, of course, once we did and everybody realized the energy savings, yet I still often go into places and you'll still see old lighting and you're thinking, really? This has been around for a very long time. But technology is always advancing. And with it, to hear, as you're saying, now you're talking about solar water heating and the footprint is so much smaller, right? I mean, from like 12 panels to 4 panels, you're saving in your energy costs tremendously. There's so many new things. And without people like you coming on to shows like this or in other arenas, so often people aren't familiar with the new technologies. They're just not aware. And so I'm so excited that you're telling us about this today because this is a huge shift. And the other thing I'm really excited about is because Hawaii has been on a track record in terms of really being a leader across the nation in solar energy and really working hard to improve our energy goals. And you're working in a way where this now does something that, a product like Excel is actually helping us reach our energy goals as well. You're a huge part of that playbook, but also helping people save money. So can you talk a little bit about that and how you're working to support Hawaii's energy goals, especially on some of those big solar systems, right, where from the federal government, we lost solar tax credits, or for businesses, we lost the individual solar tax credits. There's still some time for businesses, but that's changing. And you have a new solution that is extremely helpful.
Yes, and very good point is a lot of the clean energy goals, and we have probably one of the most aggressive. We were the first to have a 100% renewable portfolio standard, and we also have a push to decarbonize. I mean, most of our electricity is fossil based, and there's a lot of conversation going on how to decarbonize and make our energy much more clean, if you will. And the incentives that our legislation and Hawaii actually is quite progressive as well. And Parent's actually based out of California. So between Hawaii and California, I think the two states have some of the most progressive legislative policies in adopting renewables. And a lot of our policies are pursuant to HRS 196. I think it was one of the first to actually put in solar hot water requirements for new residential home builds. But like legislation, it needs to keep up with like technology, it needs to keep up with the times. And unfortunately, our legislation right now, and that's why we're working hard to work with our PUC, to the State Energy Office, and even Hawaii Energy, which is providing a lot of efficiency products for our communities. We're trying to educate them on this technology that is an option. It's another option to the thermal technology that is in the sub-70s technology, I think. So it is bringing an option that is taking advantage of the modern technologies. And so it is taking time to educate folks, and I don't want to repeat the LED process because I think that took almost 10 years. But clean energy shouldn't be one that is limited by legislation nor by, incentives only. And I think the solar community has relied a lot on incentives in the past. And now that the federal tax credits have gone away, for the residential, the commercial stuff is still there. So 2026 is a big push for a lot of solar industry. We call ourselves we're an equipment manufacturer, so we want to support folks in being able to deliver these solutions. And so getting the fastest ways for families to start saving and taking a bite out of the carbon is to actually adopt these tools. So how do we get it out to people as soon as possible? That's the timeliness and that's the urgency, whether it's taking advantage of these, tax credits. The good thing is actually the state's renewable tax credits for the state is still in place. So that's it's a good thing for our state to have that legislation already still in place. So there's legislation that I think we need to upgrade, but then there's legislation that we would like to continue to support these initiatives. So I think it's just getting people together so that we remove the barriers, if you will, and get equitable access by everyone to these resources. Not everyone has PV on the roofs and not everyone drives an EV, but I think we all have water heaters and we probably all want a hot shower every once in a while. So I think this is one of those things that we want to make it as equitable as possible.
Amen. Well, absolutely. I love that you've been a champion, right, for equitable solutions, and so am I. And I will say I laugh because I see more people, including members of my family, who are really experimenting with these new cold plunges, and I'm thinking, not for me, just not for me. Might have great health benefits, but I might have to do those a different way. So I'm hoping for a different technology that helps me with that. But I am a hot shower girl. So yes, hot water is important, and again, because of that, looking for ways to save on the energy to be able to have that and really take advantage of new technologies. I'm so glad to have you on the show today because this is so important. So let's take it down to, what does this look like for a real household? What kind of savings or impact can people expect if they look at this technology and say, okay, if I put it in the parent system, what is going to change in my monthly bill?
Yeah, so again, back in the national statistics is about 18 to 20% of your electric bill is heating water. Here in Hawaii, because we take so many more showers, I think is what it's we're about 40% of our electric bill. And these are, to me, that equates, and if I were to just use our numbers that we've seen in customer savings, it's about $1,000 to $1,200 a year saved on your electric bills. And that's not insignificant. I mean, that's a Christmas bonus for me, for sure. And I know what to use that money for rather than just paying my bills, right? Not only does it lower electric bills, it also helps people to be more mindful of their water energy use, because we have these apps that actually tell people how much carbon that they're saving. It's engaging communities that probably would never have ever looked at solar because they would never have afforded it, right? So It's actually bridging that technological gap. In addition to just saving, consumers energy, and 20 to 30% for 40% off your electric bill is not something to laugh about, but it's something we should all be striving for. But the technology also is helping to stimulate our workforce by retooling with modern technology. We're also we're always partnering with local installers. We want to encourage the local electrical, plumbing, the solar industry installers and distribution partners. So it brings another product that is accessible and new technology to our islands. Sometimes we lead with all these initiatives and policies, but we don't really have a way forward, a technology that can help us. Well, this technology is going to not only help us with the renewables, equitable access, but also gives us an opportunity to reduce carbon. And we have an interactive tool, and that's why Apparent's technology is so interesting to me, is that it actually integrates a lot of these water heaters into something that can actually modernize our grid, right? By reducing the peaks in the evenings when everybody is probably using hot water to do something, taking showers, taking baths, putting kids to bed, cooking, and it is an evening peak. So it can actually help provide relief to our grid that lowers system costs, and that's savings for everyone. So it's a stacked value in all of these ways that, and someone was actually talking to me at that East West, the conference that we were at, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we can actually help with tourism and hospitality." I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, so UHERO actually did a study way back a while ago that says tourists use 4 times the amount of energy as our residences, and so they all need hot water too. So if something like this can help reduce the cost of water heating, and tourists can be a contributor and be more mindful." How can we get commercial properties, short-term rentals, and restaurants to also be looking at these ways? And I'm like, that's a great idea. Align with sustainable commitments that we've made as a state and help educate the tourists as well. This isn't just a Hawaii solution. This actually solution can be nationwide. We actually have efforts actually moving with Australia, and we're also in Europe doing similar things.
Amazing. And I really love that, again, that you're piloting things abroad as well. And I've working for years and back on the Hawaii 2050 Sustainability Task Force, I was blown away by many of the examples that we saw coming in from Australia that were being deployed at the military base on Oahu to save tremendous amounts of money in home building. I mean, just flooring what could be done. And yet, piloted it there, but yet not transferring out across the community to all of our households and in broader development realms at the time. So it's these kinds of innovative things as they come out. I love that you're saying, look, this could be nationwide. The company does business in California and Hawaii. We're doing other models across the globe. These are great times to learn about technologies and really to look at how people can incorporate them here. And on that note, I just also want to thank you because I know that you've been sharing this Excel technology and really trying to look at how you can help Lahaina families recover. So can you tell us a little bit about that work that you're trying to do? Because again, getting our families in Lahaina back into housing and helping them reduce costs and move forward after the wildfires is just a critical need for us all across the island and across the state. I mean, we've had so much support for Lahaina. So please share with us a little bit about what you've been doing there.
Yes, and it's actually one of the reasons we met early on too, is just how do we support the families, and it's one of the most meaningful things that I think I've seen on how Excel has been helping our Lahaina families rebuild and move forward with their lives in their new homes. And the biggest issue is a lot of the sites don't have electrical capacity yet. They have limited electrical capacity either through their own generators or through limited power that has been drawn out to their sites. But they need hot water for occupancy, and the delays in getting them back into their homes increase their costs and their payments going to rentals and all that stuff. So rather than trying to delay any further, Excel has been adopted by some of these families to to provide them hot water. And immediately, the nice thing about our system is that it's a self-contained power system with the water heater. It's almost like a self-contained storage system, because the water heater is your tank of storage of hot water. It harnesses the sun, and it goes directly, powers and heats the water. So you could do this on-grid or off-grid. So on-grid, if you have the on-grid resources, that's great. You still have the backup power of the electric heating element coming in from HECO. Or if you're off-grid, you have no choice. You just have to leverage the sun, right? So why this has been a great impact, it's a small system with a big impact. It's helping people return their homes faster, because now they have hot water. They can't power their hot water through their generators, but through the sun, now they have hot water and they can go back home.
Right. I mean, thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing, because really it's so important to our normalization and to bringing families back together. And everybody just really wants to get back home. They want to get home, and they want to feel safe, and they want to feel secure. And they've been through a lot of extraordinary costs through this whole process. And you're offering them a solution that helps in a huge way. And as you point out, just, that savings that you can get at the end of the year is tremendous. And it's really important. And I appreciate the work that you're doing. And I really deeply appreciated getting to meet you very early on. And you've been doing tremendous things ever since. So it was really great to connect with you last week and to have you on the show today. It's just been so amazing. And there's more, right? Because, for everybody listening, if this is something that you're listening in on and you're thinking, gosh, I should look at this for my home, or I should look at this for a home that I'm working on rebuilding right now. Tell everybody a little bit about what's the first step. If they want to get started, how do they get started? How do they learn more, and how do they work with a parent to better understand this technology and what it's going to do for them?
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like, find your hot water heater, right? Take a look at it, learn more about our technology, because, that's the first thing we usually ask is like, how big is your water heater and where is it? And the easiest way to lower the bill is to take that step to educate yourself on this water heater, just like the LEDs, right? And we have a lot of customers on the islands now, and their performance is what we're actually charting. You can learn more on our website, which is www.apparent.com, or you can email me, which is dora.nakafuji@apparent.com. It's Nakafuji, Nakafuji. But really, I think we really need help, and the chamber too, is that to get the word out, but also how folks also help us share the message with our policymakers or legislatures, because our policies really are still kind of codified onto one option. That's a thermal option right now. And what we're trying to do is educate everyone to say, hey, we just make thermal still there. It's not that it has to be the only solution. Create another alternative, another pathway. And because our system, the way that we've designed it, we really look at making things simpler, easier, and have stacked value, like I was describing, not only to upskill our workforce, but bring the technology here, make it easier for our communities to adopt, especially those that have not been able to access it. With the federal tax credit, our state tax credit still in play this year, our communities, our folks that are in maybe commercial properties, the property owners still have incentive to try to get these things on, and it can accelerate our progress through to the renewable portfolio standards, because now you've activated the other 50% of the population that never could have done this through a hot water heater, a simple hot water heater. We have technical crews here on the islands, and we invite installers and distributors to connect with us. We can do hands-on training. We have demo sites and we do on-site trainings as well. So, let us know, because this system, you can hook it up in the next day and not have to wait months for savings to come. That's the difference. And I think that's the impact that our communities are looking for, especially when prices are just going through the roof.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just really blown away by what you've been doing and the progress that you've been making. And, the new information you're hearing, I mean, you're learning that the system works, and you're getting such great feedback. And I love that you're doing the technology side too, that you're really tracking all this so that you're able to share the data to people and help them see, why this works, how this works, and how they can save money.
Yeah, a lot of people, I'm not such a data wonk. A lot of people, their eyes glaze over when I talk about data. But, one of our customers says is like, hey, the power went out during these storms. But you know what? I can still make my instant ramen. So they can't turn on their stove, but they can still make their instant ramen. I'm like, hey, that's a proof point. That's a data point right there.
That is a great local story, right? That's the kind of thing everybody can relate to. Guess what? I love that. Well, I also love that you say that with every shower, everyone can help take a bite out of carbon and make a difference. This has so many benefits to this.
Absolutely. And I really mean it when I'm very thankful for the company's innovation and their engineers and thinking about this. And really, I mean, it's not something that is new. It's new to the world. It's actually, heating water is one of the most basic things in the world. We've made it simple and now made it accessible and easier for folks to use technology to do something simple, and to me, that's the beauty of what we've invented here as a company. A parent, like I said, makes the invisible visible. And if we can remove these barriers, these invisible barriers that we put on ourselves, let's get rid of these one option only type of, or one solution only type of legislation. Let's make it open so that we can have more choices coming in. And data is important because we want things that are reliable, that are credible, and they stand the test of time. And that is important for our communities. And as a Hawaii resident, I've seen a lot of fly-by-night stuff, but, I really encourage folks to really do their homework and do the due diligence, because at the end of the day, all these benefits are our taxpayers' monies or our rate-based monies. So we have to be diligent on these things.
Very true. Dora, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for telling us about Apparent and the Excel product. The Excel water heater is just, I'm just floored and absolutely love this. I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk, and I so appreciate you joining us today. We will be in touch because there's more we can do. And of course, with the Chamber of Commerce, we also have our construction industry of Maui, amazing trade council. And there's, I think, so much that we can do to educate them and share this with them as well. So thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to see you. I got to tell you, folks, I know you can probably hear it in her voice over the phone, but when you see Dora, she lights up and always has a great smile on her face. So an awesome woman to connect with. And it was great to see you last week.
Thank you so much. Always appreciate. You're such a beautiful person, and I love to always engage with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dora. Well, great to have you on the show, and we'll talk again soon.
Take care. Aloha.
You too. Have a blessed day. Oh, she is such a treasure. So for everybody who is listening in, I just want to give you again the website. It's www.apparent, APPARENT.com, and her email is Dora, DORA, Nakafuji, NAKAFUJI, at APPARENT.com. Please take a moment to look. This can save many households money. And again, for people like me who live on the golf course, there are other solutions for you. And I'm so excited to learn more about this product and the kinds of things that the company is doing. So we'll stay tuned and we'll give you updates on that. I also want to share a little bit about what's happening at the Maui Chamber of Commerce. We have two amazing events coming up. And the first one is coming up Thursday, April 23rd. This is coming up soon. It's from 5 to 7 p.m. And it is business after hours, the mix and mingles we do at the Maui Chamber of Commerce, where you get to network with other business people. Sometimes people in your arena, sometimes people from many different specialties and types of businesses that you've never thought of, but you get excited when you learn more about that. And also it's where we get to come together, just talk story, build friendships, make, business alliances, understand what other people are going through and how you may be able to help, have them hear what you're going through and see how they may be able to help you. It is also a perfect time because if you don't know Sherry Reeves' amazing gallery and gift shop up in Makawao Town on Baldwin Avenue, she is a bright light in this world, and she and her daughter Haley are amazing watercolor artists. They do just spectacular art that lifts you up. They have all sorts of products they have created from that art. So you can buy everything from spectacular art for your walls or your office at home, or in your business. But they have many gifts related to their art, from clothing to just all sorts of things for your kitchen, to gift cards, to games and more. They've got everything covered with phenomenal art. And it's just such a treasure to see the diversity of their products, and in time for Mother's Day. So great gifts. These are gifts moms will love, let me just share. So it's going to be a fun night. It is, again, April 23rd, 5 to 7 p.m. Go to the Chamber's website. This is a benefit of membership. But if you're not a member, you can ask if you're interested in joining the Chamber. You can be an invited guest. So just go to mauichamber.com. You'll find more about it. And this is a great time to get to know us or get to know our members if you're new. And of course, for members who haven't gotten out for a while, it's a great time to just reconnect with friends and your Chamber family. And of course, we're here to serve all the time. Amber and I are so proud to work with such amazing businesses. And then we have another really exciting event coming up. This event is coming up on May 8th, which is a Friday. It is actually a lunchtime event, and it will be held at the King Kamehameha Golf Club. And I'm going to call it a 2-for-1 event. Let me tell you why. We're going to have a Hawaii Economic Update lunch with Paul Brubaker, renowned economist. A lot of fun. If you haven't heard Paul Brubaker give an economic update, you have been missing out, because Paul gives you not only great information that you need to help you plan forward, helps you re-examine things and prepare, but he does it with great humor. And we are going to, in addition to having Paul speak, we're going to have a lively and engaging economic exchange. So we want you to come to this event with your phenomenal questions and things that are important to you. And the second part of this great event, the twofer, is you'll be a part of a landmark event. This is the first time the statewide SBA awards are being held on Maui. We've often held the Maui region part of the awards through a chamber luncheon, but this time we're holding the 2026 Hawaii Statewide Awards, honoring all of the outstanding 2026 Hawaii Small Business Award winners from across the state. It is going to be a great day. So the event begins, registration starts at 11 a.m. We're going to go till 2:30 p.m. King Kamehameha Golf Club. Don't miss out. Both of these great activities you can find at mauichamber.com. Tickets are available now. Look for the event section on our website. Just go to mauichamber.com. On the right, you'll see upcoming events. You can click on one or both. Tickets are available now, and we look forward to having you join us and learning more. These are tough times, and we need to understand what's happening in the state, and Paul Brubaker is always up to date and has been a longtime advisor serving the government on educating them, longtime participant on the Council on Revenues, and sharing important economic updates. So this is going to be a great day. We hope you can join us for both of these events. And it's now my pleasure to introduce you to Michael Benton of Bobcat of Maui. Michael has had a long career in the construction industry and moved to Maui in 1997. He shifted from carpentry to equipment operating and then started his business, Benton Management, with a single axle dump truck, a Bobcat skid loader, and a Dream. And he, when he got started, he rented a local house. Gave up he gave up their Bobcat license, and he took on the I have to ask him about this because, he had a rental house and it says gave up their Bobcat license. So I'm trying to figure that part out. So I'm interested to hear about that. But Michael took on the challenge and went all in on his business and has been skyrocketing since then. So let me just welcome Michael Benton. Aloha, Michael. How are you this morning?
Aloha. Good morning. Great. How's it going?
Good morning. I'm excellent. Thank you. I'm not sure if I read this correctly. Did you give up your Bobcat license?
No. Another dealer on the island had the license, and they gave it up, and I jumped on board.
And you got it. I was going to say, I'm thinking you're needing that Bobcat license for the work you're doing. So, okay, got it.
Right.
I got it. So when a local company gave up their Bobcat license, you were able to quickly acquire that and go all in. I love that. So,
it was not quickly. It took me over a year to get it going. Bobcat was. I'm not the typical Bobcat dealer, so. Most dealerships are owned by subsidiaries of much larger companies or subsidiaries of much larger companies. So, I'm kind of an anomaly.
You're good for you. Good. I love that. You're an anomaly, and they chose you, and they realized, wait a minute, this is not the norm, but this is somebody we need to work with. That's fantastic.
Yes, and I exceeded their expectations.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that because I think you've exceeded their expectations in many different ways, so I can't wait to share a little bit about that. But you've been living on Maui since 1997, so you've been here quite a while.
I was framing houses in Sun Valley in October, putting antifreeze in my air hoses to keep them from freezing, and my buddy said, "Yeah, I just scored round-trip tickets to Maui for $250. And so I said, I'm coming. And my ticket expired a year later. So here I am today.
Here you are today. I love that. That's fantastic. So tell us about when you opened Bobcat of Maui.
Sure. I had about a fleet of around 12 Bobcats. I started working with Colt Construction in 2015, and that's when I bought my first new Bobcat. I tried to buy it. The only dealer out here was on the Big Island, and they really didn't respond to me. And I ended up ordering it from Chico, California, and I had got the machine from the factory and had been running it for 2 weeks when I finally got a quote back from the Big Island. So. And I've been a brand loyal to Bobcat. I had started out with a skid steer, like you mentioned, way back in 2012. And so I just been buying machines from Chico, California. And it was definitely a challenge not having a dealership on the island or in the islands. And so Service Rentals actually took it over. So I bought machines from them for a few years, but then they ended up giving up their dealership, and now here I am with a large fleet and still working for the same contractor and running this dealership.
That's phenomenal. I love hearing that story. You experienced the need, you saw the importance of having an on-island dealership, and you made it happen. And you recently won an interesting position in Bobcats, and you're going to have to explain DLG to me, but you won a position in Bobcat's DLG team for 2026, making you one of the 16 highest performing dealerships in North America. Can you tell us what it means to be on that team and what that team does? And how did you do that in your first full year of business?
Sure. So the Bobcat dealer leadership group is it's based on market performance, market leadership, and overall business performance. And so we've just been really focused on giving the best customer service and just going out of our way for our customers. And we've just slowly been growing and growing. It definitely took a while to get traction and have people even know we're here. But in the DLG, it's basically a group of those dealers, the 16 dealers, and we meet once a month. And we're basically strategic advisors to the Bobcat leadership. And we're providing insight and feedback and market perspective in our own local areas. And what it comes down to is it culminates in a week-long retreat that they do once a year. And the last 2 years, it was in Iceland and Costa Rica. And this year, it's in the Four Seasons on Maui.
Yeah, so, I'm sure you had a big part of that.
Yeah, well, no, it was before, it was announced last year. So the wife and I are going to call it a staycation.
Yes.
And take full advantage.
Good. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
my
it's
gosh.
Pretty exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited that they're going to have that here. That's fantastic. And if there's anything we can do to help at the chamber, we'd love to, because of course that's a company who has the equipment that really helps us rebuild quicker. So we're all about housing, the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and getting our houses for those in need moved forward as quickly as possible. But how exciting that they're going to be here on island! I absolutely love that. In my past years, for about 17 years, very familiar with Bobcat products. They are amazing products. My former other half was, I guess he still is a landscaper, and so used Bobcat for a lot of different things. And you've got a very diverse product line. Can you tell us about the types of products that you're selling and how they're used, and what are some of the bigger sellers these days?
Sure. We started as a full turf and construction dealer line, which means we have tractors, the zero-turn mowers, and then the construction. Our best products are the compact track loaders, mini excavators, and skid steer loaders. And probably our best seller is the excavators. I think you might be seeing a lot more Bobcats around the islands these days, traveling to and fro. But we are actually expanding now. We just recently received the state dealership for material handling, which means we are going to start selling forklifts. And great. Also we got the power product dealership as well. So we will also be having large generators and light towers to add to our repertoire. So we're basically going to have all of Bobcat's products.
Love it.
Which is also unusual. I mean, most dealers don't have everything, so we're going for it.
That is amazing. That is really amazing. And I'm excited. Talk to me for a quick minute about these large generators. And the reason I ask is because before the big storms came over the last few weeks, back in February, there is a time when the power went out in West Maui for, a lot of the hotels in that area. And, they had some capacity, but I know that there were people staying out there that they were scrambling to do, banks to serve coffee, and they were scrambling to get people's phones charged up and those kinds of things. So are we talking huge generators for, multi-level buildings, or tell us what those generators could be used for?
Sure. I'm going to focus mainly on the portable side of the generators, which are on trailers, and it's from 50 kilowatts and up, pretty much. My job sites, personally, we use a 50 and a 70 kilowatt generators, which run our tools, construction, and our cranes. But we have access to all of the sizes of the Bobcat. And we also work closely with King Power Products. And so they are more in line with the installation of permanent backup generators. So we are covering it all with that.
I love that, because it was an interesting need that came up and was recently highlighted with that power outage. And of course, the power outage, they had to turn down the grid given the conditions of the wind after what happened with the Lahaina wildfires. But it was something that was new and highlighted in an interesting way. And so I appreciate you talking about that, because it is something being discussed and kind of still top of mind. And how do we prepare forward in these times when we're seeing more storms and extreme winds? So I appreciate you sharing that. Well, tell everybody how they can connect with you.
Well, we have our website at bobcatofmaui.com, and that is a good way to see what we're offering. Our store is located just down the street from Costco Gas on Laua Loop. It's a new building down there, great location, and you'll see our equipment sprawled out every day. We have a large inventory now. They've really bumped up my credit line, so we have a full stock of all varieties of machines. And yeah, we'd love to see you down there.
Oh, awesome. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing everything you're doing at Bobcat of Maui. It's great to have you on and to hear about your tremendous success. You've been a rising star for Bobcat and for our community as well. So thank you for all that you're doing, and I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much, Pamela. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for Business Matters. It has been a great day. We've learned so much about great equipment on the island, new technologies with their amazing Excel hot water heater. We hope you'll look into all of these things and more, and join us again next Tuesday. In the meantime, blessings and aloha for a beautiful Maui day. A hui ho.